Hi, this is Shupriyo. So the SBI J preliminary examination, finally we have the date, and it's about 10 days till we have to give this examination. Now it's actually quite good news because we were actually thinking that in the early days of July we are going to have the junior associate preliminary examination, and right as we expected, the SBI has actually gone ahead and made the announcement. So it's quite good news, and I am pretty sure that all of you were preparing, and those of you who had been following this channel and were staying updated with all the things, you are definitely going to be benefited. So we are just going to take a short look at all of the things that we have already discussed, so that you can put your best foot forward in the final 10 days that we have, so that you can get selected in this examination. Now before we begin, the first thing I want to say is about the mains examination. So many people were asking me. I think that it is indeed possible that mains can be on 31st July. Okay, so don't be surprised if the mains is declared on 31st July, because now that the prelims dates are already out, and SBI does not waste time. Remember that. So if they had earlier told us that 31st is going to be our mains, then that is the date with which we should be working. So please keep yourself very well prepared, because the mains examination, they are not going to delay. Maximum if they delay, maybe in the first week of August they might do it, but I still feel that 31st they might be able to hold it. So it is very important, of course, because of the other examinations that are lined up. So don't waste time, and be well prepared. Now that is why you have to be very strategic about how you go about your preparation. So for the next days, please focus on your prelims examination, and you can go forward with your general awareness preparation, but the mains centric mock tests or the main centric questions you can put aside, and after your prelims is done, you can then jump back into your mains preparation. So that would be the best strategy, because right now you do not want to take any chances with your prelims. Remember, if you do not perform well in prelims, then there is no question of mains. So don't make that mistake. And about the general awareness preparation, what you can do is you can prepare the GA fully till 4th. So 4th, that is this Sunday, 4th July, you can go ahead and prepare all of your general awareness, revise whatever you can, and all the things, just try and prepare everything. And after that, just stop your general awareness preparation for a few days until your prelims examination is over. And after your prelims examination is done, then you can jump back into your GA preparation, because GA preparation, it does take a little bit more time, and since by now you have covered a lot of months, then revision also is going to take some more time. So that is why I am telling you that after Sunday, don't give yourself that added pressure of having to stay updated with your GA preparation, because once you remove that pressure, then you can totally concentrate on your prelims examination, and that is what you should be doing. You should be totally focused. So the final phase, so how should you structure your final phase of the preparation of the SBI J preliminary examination? So what you can do, even when you are practicing, in your practice sessions, limit each session to 20 minutes. Now what is this significance? It is the same number of minutes for each section in your prelims examination. Now if you keep yourself restricted to 20 minutes, then what happens is your mind gets accustomed to having those 20-minute sessions. So in the final examination, when you are actually giving that examination, you will be very well updated with the timings and everything. So this will be very well set in your mind. So that's why in your practice sessions, limit yourself to 20 minutes, then take a break, and then another 20 minutes. So you can use a stopwatch, as I told you, and that will be all. And for your mock tests, then go ahead and do all of your mock tests, whatever the remaining mock tests you have. And I would suggest, don't give more than one mock test per day. Don't be in a hurry. So just give all the ones that you can, and if you have some leftover, then it doesn't really matter. And in your mock test, you have to go ahead and strategize. So in your English, how will you structure your mock test so that the English section you can attempt in the best possible way? So in English, first do the closure test, then the fill in the blanks, then the sentence correction or any kind of sentence error correction, all those things. Then you can jump into the RCs, so the reading comprehensions. Some you can do 2 RCs or you can do 1, at least 1 you should be doing, and after that that, you can go for the paragraph completions or the para jumbles or the more difficult questions. I would suggest that focus on your RC. So these are the very easy ones. So finish off these in your first pass and then jump into your RC, and then if you have time you can go for the other ones. So that is how I used to do it, and most people have found success using that. And for your quant, how you are going to structure it, so the simplification approximation, if you are lucky then you can get it. I am not sure that they are going to give it, but if you get it, it's quite nice. These are sitters, you can easily do it. Then you can do the number series, then the quadratic equation, and then based on your mock test performance, pick either your arithmetic or your DI. So some people, they enjoy doing the DI at this stage, and others, they actually go through the arithmetic questions. So always play according to your own strengths, and this is only possible after you are giving lots of mock tests. You can understand what works better for you. So always tailor make these solutions towards your strengths, because ultimately that is how you can get the best results in the examination. And then you can do the data sufficiency. So you can also have those quantity 1, quantity 2 types of questions. So those also you can finish at this stage. And so this is how you are going to actually structure your quant paper. And of course, some of the important subjects that you should be doing, and arithmetic based questions on these things are also something that you should not be leaving in the paper. So the ratios, averages, percentages, the time and distance, the SI and the CI. So these types of questions, make sure that you are doing, and so that you can maximize your quant marks. And then in your reasoning, so in your reasoning, just remember that if you are doing your English and your quant very well, then you would not really have to focus so much on the puzzles and the seating arrangements. So always keep your puzzles and your seating arrangements at the end of your reasoning paper, and in the beginning stages you should do the coding decoding, the direction sense, the syllogisms, the inequalities, the blood relations, machine input output, the logical reasoning, and the critical reasoning. So these are the things you should be attempting first, and only after that is done you can jump into a puzzle, so that you do not waste your time at the beginning of the paper. And if you are doing it in this way, I am sure that nobody can stop you from qualifying this examination, from getting the minimum cutoff marks that are required. So just follow a plan, and this is, I think, a plan that will work the best for most of you. So if you have any doubts, feel free to write in the comments and I'll definitely get back to you. So this is how you are going to structure your paper. And so this is something that is, you also have to remember that there are some leftover mocks, right? So many of you might be having lots of mock tests and not enough days. So what you can do till 7th or 8th, I think till 7th it is enough, but if you have to go till 8th of July, you can go ahead and give your mock test. And after that, please do not waste your time by giving any mock tests, because mock tests, if you have given till this date, then you have done enough. You do not have to finish all the mock tests. So if you have some leftover mocks, what you can do, you can actually submit those mocks. Just directly submit it and then study the questions. So which questions should you be studying? For example, the number series questions, those have some important patterns that you can actually see, and you can understand what types of questions come. Then you can do the reading comprehensions. Those are also something that you can do, and also some interesting DIs and or interesting arithmetic questions you can go ahead and do. And for the reasoning, I think you can just see the general questions, and if you have some critical reasoning or logical reasoning questions which are a little bit on the harder side, maybe a little bit dense, then you can just check them. And in this way you can just attempt the questions which seem a little bit harder or which are a little bit more complicated. You do not need to attempt the easy ones. So that is how you can just wrap up your leftover mocks. And before that, you can give the mock test per day, as I told you, one each day till 7th or 8th of July. That will be enough for your preparation. I do not think you need to do more than that. And the day before the exam, please do not give any mock test before the exam, because it actually just messes you up. If you get low marks, then your confidence, it goes down. So don't do that. What you should be doing, you have your error log. As I told you that whenever you are preparing for the mock test, whenever you are finding some errors or any kinds of things that you are not good at, you are writing down in the error log, right? So just check your error log, see what types of common mistakes you are doing, and try to avoid those mistakes. So make sure that you take a look at your error log, and make sure that you stay calm and just get a good night's sleep, because those things are very important. Do not take any stress the day before the exam. It is very, very important. And on the exam day, so you just have to be relaxed, and you have to know that you have done whatever was possible, whatever you needed to do, all of the things you have already done. So you don't have to worry too much. one thing that I have seen some people, so on exam day, in the morning, some people, they will do some problems, some easy quant problems or some easy reasoning problems, and then maybe read a few passages for English. So what happens is your brain gets a jump start on that day, so that in the examination hall you are able to somehow carry that momentum. So in the morning you can build up a momentum by just looking at a few questions, some easy ones. Don't pick any hard questions. It is just something that you do to jumpstart your brain. So that is how I used to do it, and many people, they have benefited from using that kind of a method. And on exam day, just stay relaxed and believe in yourself. I am hopeful that all of you will be able to qualify this examination. It is not hard, believe me, and even if you cannot, don't worry about it, because this is the first exam that you are going to give, isn't it? So this is a preparation for all the exams that are coming. So that is how you should approach this. You do not have to take stress. This is just the beginning. Many more exams are coming. So just give it your best shot. Your main motive is to learn as much as possible and have that self-belief that this year I am 100% going to crack an exam and get a bank job. So that is what you should be thinking about. I hope that you learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click on the subscribe button and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.